Hello, game freaks. What's up, your punks? It's me, your favorite narrator, Rusty, Ellen Rusty, back again to continue our SNK saga. And no, I don't own a rocket company yet. In the first part of our mini-documentary, I explored a small yet fascinating piece of SNK's rich history and its powerful, groundbreaking Neo Geo. Now, it's time to dive into its younger sibling, the Neo Geo CD, its disastrous market reception, and, of course, its spiritual successor, the Neo Geo 64. So, drop a like to support the channel, subscribe, ring the bell, and on top of that, get yourself a well-made sandwich, grab your favorite drink, sit back in a comfy chair, and put on your best headphones. All that right after the intro, Game Freaks. Seeking to modernize, reduce production costs, and maintain a presence in the market, SNK launched the Neo Geo CD in 1994, unveiling it at the Tokyo Toy Show that year. The console retained the same CPU configuration as the arcade and cartridge-based Neo Geo, allowing for easy conversions. SNK planned to release CD versions of all its arcade games still in operation. 3 versions of the system were released. The front loader, a tray-based model exclusive to Japan. The top loader, a more affordable, internationally released version with top-loading functionality. A Japan-only enhanced model featuring faster loading times and a double-speed CD drive. The front loader was the console's original design, while the top loader was introduced shortly before release as a smaller, cost-effective alternative. None of the Neo Geo CD models had region locks, though the console's region determined whether games displayed in English or Japanese. Additionally, the Neo Geo CD could play audio CDs. Because, really, who wouldn't want a $399 machine that could also double as a CD player? Forget the games. Just put on your favorite album and let the magic happen. At a fraction of the speed of modern technology, the system initially launched at $399. $100 more expensive than the PlayStation. Nevertheless, within a month of release, SNK announced that the entire first batch of 50,000 Neo Geo CD units had sold out. Criticism of the system's long loading times surfaced even before launch and became a running joke at the time. However, it's worth noting that PlayStation and Sega Saturn also had considerable load times when running SNK titles. To address complaints, SNK planned to release a double-speed CD model for the North American market, unlike the single-speed models released in Japan and Europe. However, the console missed its intended October 1995 launch. SNK didn't provide a specific reason for the delay, but when announcing the new launch window for January 1996, it confirmed the abandonment of the double-speed drive. The company's Japanese division had produced a large inventory of single-speed units and found that upgrading them to double-speed would be more expensive than anticipated. As a result, SNK opted to sell the existing units and postpone production of the upgraded version until the initial stock was depleted. This commercial setback benefited PlayStation, which was already dominating the market, and Sega Saturn, which was fighting for relevance. It's estimated that around 150 to 160 official games were released for the Neo Geo MVS and Neo Geo AES between 1990 and 2004, including the Neo Geo CD, which had some exclusive releases and unique ports. The total number rises to approximately 180 to 190 titles. In total, around 1 million Neo Geo MVS units were distributed, while the combined sales of the Neo Geo AES and Neo Geo CD reached approximately 980,000 units. Hardware production lasted 7 years, eventually giving way to the Hyper Neo Geo 64, which we'll discuss shortly. In January 1991, Romstar released a Neo Geo arcade conversion kit in the US, allowing operators to convert existing cabinets to SNK's system. That same month, the home version made its North American debut at the Consumer Electronics Show. SNK also announced an approximate 6-month gap between arcade and home releases for its games. Game development for the system continued until 2004. Making Neo Geo the longest supported arcade platform in history. As with any platform, no matter how competent or well-designed, its decline was inevitable. With the rise of real-time 3D graphics, the Neo Geo's 2D hardware began to show its limitations, no longer attracting players who sought more complex experiences, such as Final Fantasy or FIFA Soccer, which introduced team customization features. Nonetheless, Neo Geo games remained profitable well into the mid-90s. In 1995, the system was once again a Diamond Award winner from the AAMA, an award based solely on sales performance. Despite ceasing home console production in late 1997, SNK continued to develop games for the original Neo Geo. Even as the system became outdated, it still received standout titles, including the highly acclaimed The King of Fighters 2002. The last official SNK release for Neo Geo was Samurai Showdown V Special in 2004, marking the end of 14 years of support for the platform. We also had the Hyper Neo Geo 64, a promising system that ultimately fell into obscurity. The system was first announced in late 1995, with a planned release for late 1996. It was officially unveiled at the AOU trade show in February 1997, although the only demonstration at the event was a videotape showing just a few seconds of gameplay from Samurai Showdown 64, which SNK announced as the first game for the platform. By mid-1997, some test units were already on display in Japan. The system was released exclusively for arcades in September 1997, featuring a custom 64-bit RISC processor for megabytes of program memory, 64 megabytes of memory for 3D graphics and textures, and 128 megabytes dedicated to 2D characters and backgrounds. The first game released was Road's Edge, followed shortly by Samurai Showdown 64. However, both received a lukewarm reception. The system was a commercial failure and, in 1999, it was discontinued. It seemed like the only thing it was promoting was the use of duct tape and superglue to try to keep SNK's hopes together. With only 7 games released in total: Beast Busters, Second Nightmare, Buriki 1, Fatal Fury, Wild Ambition, Road's Edge, Samurai Showdown 64, Samurai Showdown 64, Warrior's Rage, Extreme Rally. After that, SNK resumed developing titles for its older Neo Geo system. On August 31, 2007, SNK discontinued maintenance and repair services for Neo Geo consoles, handhelds, and games, marking the end of an era in gaming history. But if you think that was the end, you're dead wrong, sucker. In 2007, Nintendo announced that Neo Geo games would be available on the Wii's Virtual Console. Neo Geo games were also released on Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network, where, on PlayStation 3, the service was called Neo GEO Station, featuring titles like Fatal Fury Special, Samurai Showdown 2, Metal Slug 3, Garou, Mark of the Wolves, and The King of Fighters 98. Additionally, many Neo Geo games have been made available for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch through the Arcade Archive service. Neo Geo has a highly active collector community. Due to the limited production of cartridges for the home market, some of the rarest games can sell for over $1,000. Which is great if you're rich and looking for a piece of plastic to spend your fortune on, or if you're a collector with a good credit card and infinite patience. The most valuable title is the European AES version of Kizuna Encounter, Super Tag Battle. The MVS market offers a more affordable alternative compared to the rare and expensive home cartridges, with complete arcade kits selling for high prices. Even though the system was discontinued, it remains widely played, accessed, and, why not, coveted. I believe this is because of the formula used in Neo Geo games. If you pay attention, they are fun, highly immersive titles that don't require endless tutorials insulting your intelligence, have a reasonable length, are difficult yet challenging, and are perfect for a showdown with friends. There were also several miniaturized versions, such as the Neo Geo X, an officially licensed device with a pre-installed collection of Neo Geo games, released in 2012 by Tomo Incorporated. However, after just a year on the market and a lukewarm reception due to its high price and low-quality emulation, SNK Playmore terminated the licensing agreement on October 2, 2013, demanding an immediate halt to the distribution and sale of all licensed products. On June 9, 2018, SNK announced the Neo Geo Mini, a semi-portable mini-arcade cabinet inspired by the design of Japanese Neo Geo MVS machines. The device, which contains 40 classic SNK games built in, was released in Japan on July 24, 2018, to celebrate the company's 40th anniversary. The games in the system are the AES home console versions, which have limited continues. However, the Neo Geo Mini features a save/load state system, allowing players to save and load progress at any time, with up to 4 save slots per game. In addition to its built-in screen with a 320 by 224 resolution, it can be connected to a TV via an HDMI cable and has 2 ports for external gamepads based on the Neo Geo CD controllers. SNK also released an international version of the Neo Geo Mini, available outside Japan on October 15, 2018, and later in Japan on November 15, 2018. This version retained the same features as the Japanese model, but included 14 different games in its selection of 40 titles, featuring the entire Metal Slug franchise and a distinct interface. So, when considering both versions, a total of 54 SNK titles were made available. On July 19, 2019, SNK announced the discontinuation of the Neo Geo Mini and its international version. In September 2019, SNK announced the release of the Neo Geo Arcade Stick Pro. The device, which resembles a large white arcade stick with a joystick and 8 buttons, comes pre-installed with 20 games and features an HDMI output for connecting to TVs. Additionally, it can be used with any Neo Geo Mini unit via an included adapter and is compatible with the gamepads released for the Mini. The initial 20 games were all fighting titles, but SNK later added more through software updates, bringing the total to 40 games. The system's legacy lives on through homebrew projects, unofficial games, and modern titles developed by fans and indie studios. Even today, the Neo Geo community keeps the platform alive with new releases. Some examples include an unofficial port of Golden Axe and Shinobi, along with modern games like Midnight Wanderers, Vengeance Hunters, Final Vendetta, and Shadow Gangs, with more on the way. In August 2020, the company Unico announced the Neo Geo MVSX, a tabletop arcade system capable of running pre-installed MVS and AES games. The device supports 2 simultaneous players and features a 17-inch screen, along with 50 preloaded games. A 32-inch stand was also made available, allowing the system to function as a vertical arcade cabinet, similar to classic MVS machines. During my research, I came across the names of 2 professionals who were part of the sound team. The first is Toshikazu Tanaka, who contributed to absolute gems like Fatal Fury, Power Instinct, Metal Slug, and the King of Fighters, Maximum Impact. The second is Yasumasa Yamada, one of the most important musicians on the team, leaving his mark on several iconic soundtracks. I'll also leave some materials in the description from SNK's old headquarters, including behind-the-scenes photos. Now, you might be wondering, where the hell is SNK today? SNK faced several financial difficulties over the years. By the late 1990s, with the decline of arcades and the rise of 3D consoles, the company began losing market share. In 2000, SNK declared bankruptcy and was acquired by Aruse, a pachinko company that exploited its intellectual properties without investing in new games. Dissatisfied with the company's direction, SNK founder Eikichi Kawasaki left and established Playmore in 2001 with the goal of reclaiming the brand. SNK has been through so much that, if it were a game character, it would be the final boss of an RPG, with multiple stages of downfall and recovery, and never losing that nostalgic charm. In 2003, Playmore acquired SNK's rights and began operating as SNK Playmore, resuming game development and licensing its franchises to other studios. However, the company never fully regained its former prestige, releasing lower-budget titles and struggling against major competitors. In 2015, SNK Playmore was bought by Lido Millennium, a Chinese group that shifted the company's focus toward mobile and casino games. 2 years later, the company dropped Playmore from its name and began reinvesting in its classic franchises, such as the King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown, and Metal Slug. Today, SNK is primarily owned by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, which acquired 96% of the company in 2022. Under this new management, SNK has been working to revive its franchises and explore new opportunities in the fighting game market, as well as remakes of its classics. Now, I want to hear from you. What's your favorite Neo Geo title? How many epic battles and great memories did you have with friends at an arcade? And as always, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications. That way, YouTube will know you enjoy my content and will recommend this video to even more people. If you have any questions, feedback, or corrections, leave a comment. Your participation is always welcome. This was the episode covering the incredible history of Neo Geo here on GameToons Network. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time, Game Freaks.
Thanks for watching.